Welcome back to the channel. In today's lesson, we're building the most important foundation for any smooth head turn in Moho, the rotation box. Before you animate a character turning 270 degrees, you need to practice with this box. This simple guide will help you understand spacing, angles, and consistency so your final animation looks natural and professional. Let me create this box, and then we can start rigging it to rotate 270 degrees. First, I'll group all my layers and convert that group into a bone layer. Then I'll create a point bone and bind every layer to it. Now I'm adding a second bone, but this one won't be parented to anything. Go to Action, click to add new action. The timeline will turn blue. Move your cursor to frame 100. Go to Transform Bone tool and rotate the bone to 270. You can click Bone Selection tool and go to Bone Constraint to set the value so that the bone does not go over 270. While you're on frame 100, click any layer and start shifting it to a different spot. Repeat this for all layers, adjusting the point as needed. You can use the grid as a guide. It's helpful for keeping your movements perfectly straight. Now let us see if our rotation is working correctly. Great, the rotation works perfectly. Now we can move on to something more advanced, making a car turn 270 degrees. Now we have our car in place, along with a reference image to guide the rotation. Since all the car layers are already inside a bone layer, I'm going to add a new bone and name it 270. You can name yours whatever you prefer. With the bone still selected, click New Action and create a new Smart Action. Move the cursor to frame 100, switch to the Bone Select tool, then open Bone Constraints. Set the angle limits to 0 and 270. Now we can rotate the bone to a full 270 degrees. I'll set the bone back to 50, and then I'll enable Hide Unselected Layers from the menu. This makes it easier to focus on the specific layer you're working with. Now let's move the layers toward the center. This will set up the front rotation. We'll be using a mix of tools here: layer movement, the transform tools, and the magnet tool. This follows the same approach we used with the box. Sometimes the transform point tool is more helpful, especially when you only want to adjust specific points instead of shifting the whole layer. Here, I'm selecting the points and using the transform tool to move both headlights. Alright, let's move the cursor to frame 100 and shift our objects to the right, using the same method we used earlier with the box when we moved it to the center. Alright, let's move the rest of the layers to frame 50, using the same method we used earlier. While I'm doing this, I'd like to ask a small favor. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like any of the characters or objects I'm using in these tutorials, just leave a comment and I'll send you a free download link. At frame 50, when the car is facing forward, move the cursor to frame 51 and use Flip Layer to flip it horizontally. This puts the wheel arches on the opposite side. Thank you for staying until the end. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. I know some of you have requested specific videos, and I'm planning to work on those this weekend. And one last favor, I've started a new channel where I create comic-style videos. Please check it out and subscribe. Your support would mean a lot. I'd really appreciate it if you could visit and subscribe. I've added the link in the description box below. I also have a special offer for the 2D Rigging Toolbox 4.0 designed by Motion Gear. In my next video, I'll be introducing this toolbox and showing you how it can help you rig any character in a very short time.